Lol, ER, you meant ER. Respond to ER. What do you mean respond to ER? Are you asking me to talk about Ralph? Because I already said I'm not going to comment on that situation. I don't want anything to do with that side of the internet anymore, y'all. No thanks. Not a fan of of dealing with it. Would prefer to just, like not. So we're going to let that one go by. So there's a guy. There's a guy out there who decided to write a book on Lolcows. It's a book on Lolcows, and it has several chapters in it. Each chapter being dedicated to a particular lolcow and their lolcowdom. And of course, one of those chapters is about me. And so you'll find that certain people out there got free copies and have either chosen to review it or not. And so Kurt reviewed it once and like screwed up somehow and reviewed it again. So I don't know. I don't know what they're like. I don't know what they're like, and I don't know why he had to do it twice, but he did. So that's kind of funny. As far as the video itself, the book itself, like I don't have any interest in it. The guy asked me for comments on my own chapter. He's like, "Oh, would you like to contribute to your thing?" And I just said no. Like, or I ignored him. I can't remember. But like, if someone's going to write a book, go ahead. I don't really care about it. But, and as far as the book is concerned, I don't give a shit. But Kurt reading it or talking about it might actually be funny. Like that I'm interested in, because that's good. That's good stuff. Art says, "Hey, Nick, I've got a true crime conspiracy. I've got 17 cats and Vic Mignogna killed everyone." And that's true. That's true. On that vein, since you mentioned it, he has also reached out to me again because he is writing a book specifically about the Vic Mignogna GoFundMe, which I don't get how you're going to get a book out of the Vic Mignogna GoFundMe, but okay. That's one that has consistently baffled me. Everything was done in a way where it was all verifiable in public, and I couldn't touch the money at all. It went directly into a regulated account, regulated by the state of Texas. It's like it was set up in one of the most effective ways I could think of for like the veracity of where funds were going to go and what they were going to be used for. It was amazing. But, people have opinions about it, I guess. And they ask me, they're like, "What happened to the money?" I'm like, "Bro, like, I set up the GoFundMe, and the money from that goes straight into the account that it's set to go into, which was the trust account." Like that was, and once that trust account was linked, not only did I make a post about it, but it actually changed who the host of the fundraiser was to Beard and Harris, the law firm that had the trust account. And so it's like, there you go. Like it's fully verified. You could read in their policies exactly how everything works. And that was it. Like that's how it went. But some people still have a lot of questions about it. I don't have any more answers. There really aren't any. But they'll ask me stuff like, "How was the money spent?" I'm like, I don't know. I'm not the lawyer or the law firm. I never saw a penny of it. None of it was spent on me. How's that? Zero was spent on me. But it's just like, it's just a weird thing. I am kind of curious how he's going to get a whole book out of it. That seems exciting. That seems good. Who is this author? He's author is just the title of someone who authors anything. He's a guy named Luther Morgan. Now, Nick, your haters never believe that. That's a funny one because it's like the easiest one to verify. Like I can't I can't do anything about any of it. I don't know. But that's, what other people are hung up on things. Certain types of people get hung up on certain types of things. And that's one of those things that is ripe for it. Special sauce. I'm not commenting on this shit. I'm not. That's a train wreck people can watch elsewhere. I will say something though. Fat Sean is running with the absolutely retarded implication that I have in any way paid anybody to harass or do anything to Aaron Imholt. I have not ever done anything of the sort. People have asked me if they should do things, and my answer is, I don't tell people what to do. I can't say yes, and I can't say no, because I have no control over people's decisions, and I don't want it. But that's when people come to me for that. They ask me that question. I'm also not in control of questions people ask me. But no, neither I nor anybody I know at all has paid anyone to do anything. If anybody ever asks me anything about it, I say the system will take care of that. That's not for me to involve myself in. So anyone thinking that there's any truth to that, I'm sorry, there just isn't. It's not that dramatic. It's not that exceptional. Various people asked me if they should go to the hearing or whatever, and I was like, I don't care what people do at all. That's not up to me. It's not a yes, it's not a no. I'm not involved in other people's decisions. Don't ask me what you should do ever. I don't get down like that. Yeah, one thing that I was very clear about the entire time is that I didn't want anybody doing anything on my behalf. I don't want anybody to mess with anything. We were in a legal process at the time. I'm still in a different legal process, but I'm still in one. I don't want anybody to mess with him, or I don't want anybody to watch him or not watch him. Don't make any decisions based off of me. I've never asked anybody to do anything like that. That's very silly. So, but people run with dumb stuff. I don't know. Sean doesn't run with anything. That is clear. He does not run with dumb stuff or smart stuff, or Megan Fox medium smart stuff. He doesn't run. He tries to spell the word run. He gets tired by the end of it. So anyway, I guess I didn't need to, but I felt like putting that out there because it popped out of where its source was and went into someone who pretends to have credibility. So I guess. You have special sauce. You have no idea. You have no idea. I'm just over here existing. And all of this sudden, I am catching strays like a fucking catnapper. What am I doing? It is insane. It is insane. I don't want anything to do with any of it either. It's wild. But hey, that's just how it goes. That's kind of the tough part about having any sort of publicity, is you have to get used to the fact that there's going to be shit said about you. It's just going to happen. And you just have to go, whatever. Whatever. Ryan Mitchell, what's this in reference? Is this in reference to me, or is this in reference to the global politics stuff? Just curious. Am I still friends with Vic? I haven't talked to Vic in a long time. He got married. I gave my congratulations to him, and he's probably been busy with life after that. So I don't know what he's up to. I haven't spoken with him since a little bit after my arrest. Is Farron ever live anymore? I don't think Farron does much YouTube or does YouTube right now. Someone asked me about her the other day, and I mentioned that she and I basically agreed to just kind of not really talk about each other, probably for the best. So I don't want to talk about her in any particular way. I don't think she's on YouTube right now. I don't know what she's up to. Lol, she mediated your First Amendment away. No, it's just, I wasn't really wanting to talk about her in general. I don't follow what she's up to. There are some people you just don't really want to bring up because anytime you do, it's there's a significant chance that it's going to just be a bunch of gay bullshit, which happens pretty much every time. May even happen from this, but it's the last time I was just look, I don't want to talk about you. Someone sent in a super chat and I responded to it, and that's about it. But after the super chat, I talked maybe a little bit more or something. I don't even remember specifically, so I don't care, but it's just easier for me to ignore most of this shit. But I also, I do read super chats and super tips, so I'm not, I might do something, but I have the ability to not delve into subjects too far sometimes. Mickey Bitsko says, tonight's costume, lol. Thanks. I appreciate that. What does Mint have on you? I have no idea. This is one of those trick questions where it's someone hasn't said something. So it's what do they have? And you're supposed to answer. I don't know. I don't really care. As far as I know, Mint and I were always friendly. Never had a bad interaction with her that I'm aware of. If I upset her somehow, I apologize, but whatever. Whatever people do, they will do.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law. And for today's stream, I've got a book that was sent to me in the mail.
Okay.
Get a closer view of it. It's called Lolcows. The internet's...
Okay, we can... So it's computer keys. It makes it kind of hard. It's not super legible. As far as marketing goes, I don't give the book the highest marks, but I don't think you're really going to find someone grabbing this off a shelf randomly. But yeah, I would have just invested in some sort of more attention grabbing cover art. That's just my opinion. Oh, it's probably really loud. I'm sorry. Where's Drex? Probably at home or work or something, I would guess.
Never-Ending Tragedy by Luther Morgan. Very exciting. I'll read the back cover to you. I'm an independent writer who became fascinated with the internet phenomena of lolcows and the questions that surround them. Lolcows, the internet's never-ending tragedy, is the world's first book on the subject of internet lolcows. The word lolcow is a portmanteau of lol, laugh out loud, and cow.
A portmanteau is when you take two words and combine it into one word that doesn't exist, but is descriptive of what you're trying to say. Sledge Entertainment says, oh wait, I read this one. Gotta stop fooling me. Gotta stop fooling me and tricking me into reading these things multiple times. Very uncouth. Is it still super loud? Okay, I can, again, you just gotta let me know because I can change that.
Someone who is milked. A lolcow is something that is baited or tricked into responding to trolls, thereby milking.
One of the things I like about listening to Kurt read and stuff like that and not do his prepared videos is you realize that he cannot pronounce words. Like, I don't know what he says here, but it's supposed to be lolcow.
Is the world's first book on the subject of internet lolcows. The word lolcow is a portmanteau of lol, laugh out loud, and cow, someone who is milked. A lolcow is something that is baited or tricked into responding to trolls, thereby milking them for amusing reactions. The life of the lolcow is a story of tumultuous lies, deceit, manipulation, emotional breakdowns, crash outs, and financial ruin. The dramatic rise and fall of story is familiar to all of us, but unlike the fictional heroes of screen or Shakespeare, these are
the fictional hearers. The hearers, they're very important. They hear everything.
people that exist in the real world. We will explore the niche internet subculture.
So the thing I don't know, and this is expertly played by Kurt. I don't know if he's laughing, like legitimately laughing at the content of what he's reading, because I don't find it very funny, but it's written by this retarded guy, and so Kurt like might find it funny in that way. I don't know. Or if Kurt's laughing because of the context in which he's receiving and reviewing the book, which is, of course, as I'm learning, the entire world's context is just me. It's just fucking me, apparently, out here just existing. So I don't know if it's that or if he's like, oh, this book's great. This is written really well.
Of lolcows, their origins, traits, pattern of behavior, and communities which form around them. We will examine the biography of 6 lolcows across different genres and eras. Finally, we will discuss why people are lolcows, other questions which surround them, and lessons we can learn from them.
The thing I really hate is that he's not Kurt, the author here, is doing the thing that like the high school paper writing thing. So his intro is like, here are the 3 things we're going to do. I'm going to tell you about each one, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll revisit this.
Right off the bat, I do not condone any harassment or other legal activity targeted towards any person mentioned in the book. In fact, I encourage people not to interact with them at all.
That's so funny.
I should also state that any additional publicity drawn to the lolcows or people mentioned is a matter of course. People presented here have accepted being public figures. Public figures are available for public scrutiny. Still, I tried to limit the amount of time spent on personal or embarrassing topics related to people who surrounded the lolcows. There will be adult language used in the book.
No.
I've only used it as parts of direct quotes. All right. So that's part of the preface, at least. All right. So the chapter list. Chapter 1, YouTube and content creation. Chapter 2, what is a lolcow? Chapter 3, how the internet birthed lolcows. Chapter 4, the traits of a lolcow. Chapter 5, the lolcow biography. Chapter 6, dark side Phil.
Now, I don't know about you guys, but that chapter list alone has me rigid. Like I can't imagine not spending my time reading this book, frankly. Like those chapters sound just like, whew, very informative. I like it.
Chapter 7, Wings of Redemption. Chapter 8, Boogie, 2988. Fair. Chapter 9, Rekieta Law.
Wait, that's the first one that's fair? Is Boogie? Those the other people? He's like, oh, this one. Boogie. Fair. Oh my God.
Chapter 10, iDubbbz. Chapter 11, The Quartering.
He just breezed right past me.
Chapter 12, why do lolcows continue? Chapter 14, Lessons on lolcows. Question 15, questions I still have. Chapter 16, conclusion. All right, and then
Wait a minute. I just realized why I'm concerned. I don't know if this thin little barrier up here is going to hold all that weight. It's like it could come crashing down at any moment. I'm in danger. Energy King says, Nick, point Morgan to your book for writing tips. Okay. I guess I could.
Person who sent it to me marked the page starting chapter 9, Rekieta. He sent me a note, which I'll read to you.
Hey, Luther, like, you know that Kurt is going to figure out that that's why you sent in the book, like, anyway. You didn't have to send the note. Kurt's not dumb like that. He's going to figure that out, I think. Probably. Maybe.
This was sent to me, and the letter's dated February the 20th, 2026. Hello, Kurt. I've included promotional copy of our books, Lolcows, the internet's never-ending tragedy. I hope you enjoy it.
Still $5.
If you're willing to do a paid promotion, please let me know. I guess I'm just doing one for free now, so I don't even need to need to be paid. We're trying to find an audience for a niche topic. I think your audience would be interested. You can reach me at phone.
I honestly no slight to Luther. On other times, slight to Luther. I think the guy's a weirdo, but in this comment, there's no slight. I can't think of any audience that actually wants to read the history of what a lolcow is. They already know. If you have an interest in that, you're already there, and you get absorbed into the culture pretty quickly. It's not like it's that complicated. So it's he's like, we're trying to find an audience. I mean, I guess I can't imagine someone walking by this book at a Target or whatever and be like, you know what? I want to learn about that. Sounds great.
Number or email address.
Look at that receding hairline. Melissa Jane, do you have a gift for the understatement? That's like looking at Elon Musk and going, look at that net worth. He's doing pretty good.
Hold on. Shut up, ChatGPT.
I think
I'm not
my
talking to you.
polycule days are finished.
It's difficult to discern how much law that would be Rekieta, actually practiced. According to the Minnesota Court Records Online website, a government website, he's represented 28.
This is the best. Having Kurt read this is the funniest thing. Having Kurt read, he starts at that passage. Did the guy know? Did the guy know how funny that was? Or is it just an accident? That's the real question.
Cases from 2015 to 2024. Most are family and criminal cases, but also a few civil cases. These are just the cases in court, but could have been hired on legal matters outside of court, which is very true.
Most of my business had nothing to do with litigating, the shit that pays the bills. But there's other legal work that you do.
First case which went to court was in July of 2015 and was a child support case. In December 2015, he worked a criminal case of receiving stolen.
Why didn't he say what happened in the child support case? Why do people do that? They always just say I'm a bad lawyer, which is very mean and hurtful to my feelings. In the child support case, I completely gutter stomped a 30-year family law attorney who also was a Supreme Court justice candidate in the state of Minnesota. Kicked the shit out of her. I told her I didn't want to. I was like, I'm going to win. We should just, because we were in settlement talks, and they were being stupid because the law was so firmly on our side that it was embarrassing. And I was like, my client was willing to take a reduced amount of money than what she was owed. And the other attorney's like, no. And I was like, no, this isn't special lawyering. This is math. Minnesota's back child support calculator is an actual calculator sheet. You just put the numbers in and it spits out the answer. And she's like, no, we're going to win. They didn't win at all. It was really funny too. Cause the dispute was the disparity in what we were asking for and what he owed was $2,000. Or $2,500 or something, but we weren't going for the higher amount. We were going for the lower amount. We were negotiating. That was the whole thing. My client just said, I need this. I don't need all of the back pay. This would be fine. And they said no. And so he ended up paying my client the higher amount, plus got his child support. I think got his child support raised in general, and he also ended up having to pay his lawyer like a shitload more money. That was really stupid.
In 2016, it was a more prolific year. He handled 7 cases, including felony criminal cases, state and custody.
I fixed the Lolcows.
This continued until around 2019. Around this time, Rekieta's YouTube career was in full swing, and the number of cases he practiced took up declined.
Yes.
Arguably, the largest case of Rekieta's legal career was his criminal defense of Melanie Beth Daniel, which began December of 2019. Daniel was accused of embezzling $500,000 from 2 local bookstores. I mean, that's pretty impressive right away. Eventually causing the...
Wait, 2 local bookstores? What? They're construction companies. Bookstores? She was a bookkeeper, you retard. That's not a bookstore. There you go. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure Luther Morgan read that she was the bookkeeper and was like, oh, it's for a bookstore. What a fucking idiot. You can just read the case like it's right there.
Daniel was facing 50 criminal charges, mainly felony theft. Of those charges, 45...
This one is interesting to me because when I hear this, obviously my desire was to have 0 jail time for my client. Like that was my desire to do that. But listen to what we were up against real quick. Every time I hear this, I'm like, damn. Like it sucked that she went to jail. She pled guilty. Like that was she did it. She was going to plead guilty. She pled guilty. It was about mitigating the sentence. So I want you to hear what we were up against in the result. Like, I hated that she went to jail, but this is a good result, when you don't know the person.
Pretty impressive right away. Eventually causing the businesses to go under. Daniel was facing 50 criminal charges, mostly...
It's so weird. Nick about to talk about his client's case. I've talked about this case a ton of times, and it's a public case. It was a criminal case. You could go read this stuff. It's not... What are you talking about?
Mainly felony theft. Of those charges, 45 were dismissed, and 5 were convictions. The case made a few papers. It was the only case Rekieta handled as an attorney I could find, which was covered by the press. I've reached out to Nano to request her opinion on our legal representation, but she did not respond. He handled 1 case in 2020, 2021, and 2024. His last case was a traffic charge against his mistress. Funny. April M. Holte. He did not show up to court.
I was so sick.
She was subsequently convicted. The exact date is unknown, but due to his ongoing legal drama, people went to the Minnesota Lawyer Directory and found his licensed practice was...
I guess he didn't go through like the whole thing. That client that was 50 felonies. There were 50 felonies that she was charged with. It's fucking insane. And the deal that we worked out was she got just under 4 years. It was like 42 or 44 months that she was sentenced to. And I would have preferred 0 time. The judge was pissed at that deal, which is in the transcript of her yelling at me because she wanted her to go to jail for a lot longer. She thought my client was really evil.
Suspended. I believe it was for not doing his CLE, which he still has not done.
I have not.
This was reported September 2024. The last payment due for his bar fees was November 2024. As of writing, Rekieta has not reinstated his law license. I believe that's still true.
It is still true. I have not. Haven't done it.
So that's fun. All right, then.
Like, as noted, I haven't taken new clients since 2020. except for my mistress. Oh my God. Let's see. Why would Kurt choose to read that section though? Like Kurt hasn't represented anybody. He hasn't done any cases. He's got one now, but he hasn't done any. Why would he do that? I just don't get it. Like thinking through it just seems like one of those where you go, well, whatever. And you kind of let that one slide by, maybe. Technically, you had 4 cases because you micromanaged your own felony. You weren't listening at like 28 cases or something like that. But I didn't micromanage my own felony. That's actually things that have different arguments would have been made, which is why you hire a lawyer. I always love when people tell me like what I did that they would have no idea about. Can't possibly know about it. Here we go. I hope you're still watching. T-Dog2354. Serious question. Why should I pay you money to be a member? To watch you make fun of Kurt? Come on, man. Yes. Absolutely. Why is that a question at all? Am I really supposed to become a member to watch you make fun of Kurt? Yeah, it's fun. Try it. Makes you feel good.
Now let's see what else it says. So that's a bit of Rekieta's background.
Special sauce, I am the grandson of a millionaire. That's real. It's just, I wasn't raised with a trust fund.
They talk about Mignota.
Mignota? Idiot you are. What the fuck is Mignota? This should be good. Fun trivia. Fun trivia, of course, is that the reason that Kurt was ever on my channel, this is the genesis. This is the origin story. Episode 0. Kurt took issue or umbrage with one of the early filings in the Mignona case. I didn't write. I still, people don't realize that I wasn't the lawyer, but whatever. He had a problem with those, and people wanted me to like just trash the guy, and I said, well, I don't want to do that. Like, if the guy has problems with the filings, I don't care if he has problems with the filings. I'll bring him on. Let's talk about him. So we had a discussion about him, and I was like, this guy seems okay. I can talk to him about other stuff. And that's it. Like, that's how it all started.
Mignona, Vic Mignona.
Mignona.
They talk about Beard's. Beard's recommendation, Mignona, was widely criticized for numerous procedural failures, like submitting paperwork late and lack of professionalism. There were problems very serious ones in his representation.
Yeah, I think Beard said that.
It has since been suggested that those were principally due to an associate not doing his job. But, you know, Beard's name was on it and not apparently supervising, so that was a problem.
Beard has only ever publicly taken accountability and responsibility for all of the filings in that case. So, I don't know. People do stuff.
Too. For example, the court had to reject affidavits because they're not properly notarized. Beard had notarized them based on a telephone call when he didn't know was actually a violation of Texas notary law. When your lawyer doesn't know what the law is, it's a bad sign. It's possible Beard is a competent attorney who's just totally out of his depth. He's not experienced with defamation cases. Mignona lost the lawsuit and cost him a great deal of money. It sure did. After losing the appeal, Mignona was personally responsible for paying the other parties' fees, which were $283,000, not to mention the underlying claims. It's important to stop and pause here for a moment. Rekieta's lack of experience and technical knowledge of casework and law had real world consequences for Vic.
Whoa. How? First, what is he talking about? How would my lack of knowledge and technical experience have anything to do with this? Even if I were Vic's lawyer, it wouldn't, because once a lawyer is barred, at least in Minnesota, once a lawyer is barred, they are presumed competent in all aspects of law. Now, it's up to them, their responsibility, to make sure that they have a present understanding of the law and are fully versed in the current status of practice of that field of law. But I wasn't Vic's lawyer, so I'm not sure how that happened.
Mignogna. Now, it's not fair to say that Mignogna didn't have the free will to choose whatever lawyer he wanted. But what experience or knowledge did regarding defamation cases does Rekieta have? Rekieta
Turns out a shitload. That being said, it wasn't up to me. Like, when you give someone, you know, a email address or phone number or whatever for a referral, it's then up to them what they do with it. Specifically, not up to me, as I was not his lawyer. Which I've said a billion times. People don't like that answer, and that's fine. I don't know what to tell them. It will never be true just because some dork doesn't like it. We're up to 15 members. I didn't update the number. My bad. My bad.
It wasn't licensed to practice law in Texas. He was a strip mall lawyer in rural Minnesota.
These guys, when people say the strip mall lawyer thing, it's so interesting because lots of lawyers have law offices in strip malls and just rip the shit out of a ton of people. Not every lawyer operates out of a, like a high-rise building. There isn't even a building over 2 stories in the town where I worked. Well, there might be one, like a bank building or something, but it's basically 2 stories and lower. He's a strip mall lawyer. Keep thinking that you will get fucking stomped by strip mall lawyers all day long. Just because they don't want massive overhead and they don't need huge teams doesn't mean they won't kill you in court.
My research of Rekieta's actual representation, I wasn't able to find a case where he represented anybody as plaintiff or defendant in a defamation case. He was comfortable providing legal recommendations to someone on the subject. Well, to be fair, just because he's never done it before doesn't mean that he can't do it for the first time.
Also, I made a referral. That's it. I made a referral, and then Vic talked to that lawyer and apparently, presumably, liked what that lawyer said about the representation. And so he hired him, which is the process by which people do this. I didn't tell Vic to hire him. I just said, I'm not going to get into too much about what was said back and forth, I guess. But I made a referral based on some questions. Said, here you go. Talk to this guy. See if you like him. That's it. I wasn't on the call. I wasn't like that. Not up to me.
Everyone's got to have a first. And you just have to get yourself up to speed on the relevant law and procedure. So, there's
Turns out I didn't even have to do that because I wasn't the fucking lawyer.
He was comfortable providing legal representation to someone on that subject. And why would Ty Beard take a case in a field he doesn't report to be proficient in? These are all reasonable questions.
He did purport specifically to be proficient in it. Defamation went on his list of practice areas on his website. I don't know. Again, I'm not in control of any of this stuff. Why do I catch strays like crazy? It's so fucking wild. And I tried to make this abundantly clear throughout the case. I am not the lawyer. I didn't want anybody giving me any money or like expecting anything that would have anything to do with the case. I was constantly telling people, I'm not his lawyer. I'm not his lawyer. I'm not his lawyer. Not his lawyer. Not his lawyer.
Questions. And then they talk about his representation of...
Yeah, and of course, this is a big problem. Like, this is another one of those sections that Kurt has to kind of be careful with because Kurt's been licensed attorney for a decade and has never practiced in the area he's practicing now. He's never done it. So he can't be like, yeah, I mean, I can't believe he would take on a case like that. He's got a big case, a couple $100,000, some really complex legal issues, questionable client. Like, it's perfect.
Or his coverage of the Kyle Rittenhouse case.
Ooh.
And how he exploded and skyrocketed in popularity, which he did.
I exploded all over everyone. How did I do that? I wonder how I did that.
Then they talk about, so we're still talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse case. It's hard to state how big Rekieta was at this point in his career. In 5 years, Rekieta went from being a strip mall attorney in rural Minnesota to one of the most well-known and respected lawyers on YouTube. He had a worldwide audience of people and loyal fans who turned in his streams to hear his legal opinions. Well,
yeah. How did I'm constantly told how incompetent I am, but I just convinced everybody, including really high-profile lawyers who are really good at all sorts of stuff. I also pissed off a bunch of fat lawyers.
at least partially, because he had a lot of us on too. Many of Rekieta's loyal followers followed him off YouTube onto more monetizable platforms. In the summer of 2022, Rekieta started a Lolcows account. Lolcows.
Well, we did it too. Oh yeah, you're right. In fact, all the growth and attention was really lagging until I had Kurt on for the Kyle Rittenhouse case. He really brought the heat.
This is a Patreon-like site where you can directly support a creator and be let into an exclusive club. In exchange, supporters can get exclusive content and access to creator. It's reported by Rekieta had over 5,000 monthly supporters. At an average rate of $3 per month, that would have netted Rekieta's $25,000 per month. That's pretty healthy.
It's healthy.
Yes, that's $250,000 a year. So that's a lot.
It's more than $250,000 a year. It's $300,000 a year. Learn to do math. Come on, I know you're a lawyer, but
in 2023, Rekieta signed an exclusivity agreement with Rumble. Rumble is a video hosting site and competitor to YouTube. Rekieta's profile was so high that the CEO of Rumble, Chris Pavlovsky, made a public statement announcing his arrival on the platform. Rekieta is popular for his entertaining and insightful commentary, and we're proud to serve as a platform where he's free to be himself. The exact dollar amount was unknown, but many have speculated it was worth up to 6 figures. That sounds very plausible.
Up to 6 figures. You nailed it. Right up to the margin, just barely tipping in.
He definitely had a period when he was doing very, very well. During the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, I believe there were several points in which he was the #1 super chat creator on all of YouTube. So he was getting more super chats than anybody for extended periods of time during the Rekieta or during the Rittenhouse coverage.
Yeah, it's like people liked it and there was a shitload of them.
In 2022, at the height of his popularity, controversies began to pile up. These controversies are not related to his legal commentary, but his personal life. In October of 2022, his Lolcows chat became a forum for sharing nudes and other private photos. Rekieta would not discourage him post.
I love it. Sharing nudes. Nope. Actually not. Completely against all of the rules. Sharing nudes, even though Lolcows would have allowed nipples at the time. I don't know that they do now. But they allowed nipples at the time. I said no nipples allowed.
Of private content, but rather he branded his Lolcows chat as free speech and censorship free. This resulted in many female audience members posting racy images in the Lolcows chat. Rekieta
and men. I don't get it. Everybody overlooks that. We're equal opportunity Ass Wednesday posters. Come on now.
It began engaging with these people instead of moderating them out of the community. There were additional photos provided by Nick and his wife, Kaylee. Kaylee posted a lewd photo.
You've met
Nick
her.
posted a photo of his liquor bottle.
She has never posted a nude photo. That's fucking insane. That's, well, we won't say what that is, Maybe I'll send a nice retraction demand.
In between his butt cheeks.
See that for just a moment, Kurt had fun. Did you guys see it? It was amazing. For just a moment.
By Nick and his wife, Kaylee. Kaylee posted a lewd photo. Nick posted a photo.
Oh, he didn't say nude. He said lewd, which I guess that's always entirely opinion based. Okay. Yeah, her name's also not Kaylee. Kurt's met this woman multiple times. Like, what a dork. That being said, it's his next thing. He has fun for just a second. He remembers what it's like.
Of his liquor bottle in between his butt cheeks. This later was...
People got so mad about that. It was the dumbest picture. But it was because it was Ursa's fault. Because Urs posted the bottle challenge. She did it first. She posted a picture of her butt cheeks clapped together on, I don't remember what liquor bottle it was, but it wasn't a little one. And she's like, see, this is the bottle challenge. And then, a couple other people decided to do it because it was funny. It was so fucking funny. People were like, he's got a bottle shoved all the way in his ass. It's like, I don't think so. I think I'd be in a hospital after that one. It was also the tiniest bottle ever because I have no ass. Like, that was the joke. It's a little tiny bottle, a 250 milliliter bottle of Sazerac rye. That was the joke. You're like, oh my God, he's selling nudes. Like, what? Who would buy this? I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. The way I always looked at that picture, it was like, this is a picture that I would post in like a friend group in college. Like it was nothing. It was definitely not like a sexualized picture. There's no genitalia visible or anything. It was just a fucking joke. And people lost their minds about it.
Explained away as a joke and just humor, which got it out of hand, which was later confirmed. Confronted. Kayla posted Lolcows defending her photos. There's nothing wrong with what she was doing, and she was proud of her body. In August...
Yes, her always completely covered photos. Well, like any, whatever. If you were to run into us at a public pool, you'd see it's just her in a swimsuit. For the most part. Something akin to like that level of coverage, though.
2022, Rekieta announced that he was taking his wife to Jamaica. Later, nude photos they post on Lolcows and various details.
The nude photos were from the back. You can see like this much of my ass crack. I'm sorry. I've tried to get rid of all of it.
Tells he let slip into streams, allow people to locate the resort as hedonism. I think it's hedonism 2, strictly speaking. And I don't believe there is a hedonism 1.
Oh, have you researched
So
it,
it's just a weird name, but either way.
No, hedonism 1 is where they, like, after you go to hedonism 2, they give you the special card for the secret pass to hedonism 1.
On hedonism's website, it describes itself as an all-inclusive, adults-only, clothing-optional resort where inhibitions can be left at the door and the thrill of discovery awaits around every corner. Immerse yourself in an exotic escape. Yeah,
it's not really that inaccurate.
It's a sex resort. There's wife swapping, hooking up, sex-themed, and risque parties.
Some people do that, and a bunch of people don't. Some people just go there with like their partner and have like a good time because it's fun.
Later admit to being at the resort. In November 2022 and February and into February of 2023, Rekieta posted videos in which were essentially an endorsement of male sex toy called the Baldo.
After like 2 years of making jokes with Drexel about the Baldo, Yeah, I got an affiliate link, and it was again to me, it's like the funniest shit that could have happened. I'm like, yeah, you go to the baldo.com and type in Rekieta law. Like that was the funniest fucking outcome of this long running joke. And again, like people got really upset about it.
Yeah, he talked about it a lot. I'll spare you the details of what the Baldo
I was paid to talk about it. Yeah, I talked about it all the time. I got money for it.
is.
I said, which I said I was open
No one
about.
had ever heard of Baldo until Rekieta introduced it in his general public.
Come on now. That's not true. That's not true at all. No one had ever heard of the Baldo until I introduced it to the general public. No way. That's fake. That's completely false. I wish I could take that much credit.
Many memes have spawned from the Baldo affinity, including Rekieta being known as Baldo Man or simply Baldo. And his home is now referred to as the Baldo Bunker. In December 2022, Rekieta also discussed in his streams about going to an underwear bar for his birthday with his wife. This bar...
It wasn't an underwear bar. How did they get all this wrong? It was an underwear party at a bar. You just had to be in some level of underwear. You could have a shirt on and no pants, but underwear on over your genitalia. Or you could have pants on, but no shirt. I guess women would have to wear a bra. Or you could be in underwear. I don't think they cared if you were naked. There wasn't much of that. It was really fun. It's people get scared of things like underwear. It's the same as like going to a dance club on a beach where everybody's in like bikinis and swim trunks. Like that's it. That's all it was. And after a couple drinks, some people would just go around topless or whatever. But like that's it. It was just a little bit of a racy party. It wasn't too bad. I've been to worse. Sledge Entertainment says Kurt sounds upset about his balls, though. I know. Here we go. Like Alex Scott Thompson, we call that shirt cocking at Burning Man. Very traditional style of dress. Yeah, that's the thing. Like Burning Man and Coachella. Burning Man and Coachella are easily would surpass this party that I was at. Or your typical rave. Like some girls are dressed up in duct tape. People made a really big deal out of some of this stuff. And like, I guess it was because they had some sort of expectations that I wasn't like that I didn't find any of this stuff funny, but I did. Still do.
Gay 90 is a known LGBTQ.
Here we go. I just don't understand what the big fucking deal is. Welcome to my world, buddy. I didn't tell anybody. Well, I said some guys should go to some of these things because I think it would help their confidence. And that's still true. I still believe that 100%. I think a lot of guys could use, who have body image issues, could use to go to like a nude beach or something because they'll realize that nobody gives a shit about their body image. Like nobody sees them the same way that they see themselves. They're probably their harshest critic for most people, not everybody, obviously. But, I think it would be a helpful experience for some guys. Now, I'm not saying people need to, or like that it's morally right or wrong. It's just like, if you believe like you're the ugliest or fattest or, smallest or whatever guy on the block, go to one of these things. You'll find out very quickly that you're probably wrong.
Somewhere in October of 2023, Rekieta met April and Aaron in Malte. Aaron was a fellow content creator and local to the area. He ran a web show called the Steel Toe Morning Show. They began socially engaging and were frequent guests at the Rekieta house. The Maltese had made appearances on Rekieta's show. In January 2024, there was an infamous...
Is that true? Did they make appearances on my show? I don't think that's. I don't know that they were ever on my show. I went on theirs. They used my studio for it. But like, why would I bring them on my show generally? Like unless there was a specific topic, I don't know. They're, whatever. But I don't remember that.
Hot tub stream. The Imholtes and Rekieta, Nick and his wife, appeared to live stream in a hot tub. They'd obviously been drinking. The stream feels off. Everyone seems like they're overtly familiar and inappropriately. It also included Nick.
Everyone seems like they're overtly familiar and inappropriately. Inappropriately to who? So like, don't mistake what I'm saying here. Obviously, you can have moral disagreements with other people, right? Like, I'm sure I have moral disagreements with many of you, and that's a fine thing. But I don't have authority over you, and you don't have authority over me. So, like, what would be inappropriate? Where does the inappropriateness come from? And that's always the rub, isn't it?
Nick playfully touching Aaron Imholte. This fueled many rumors that the Reketas and the Imholtes were swinging.
Playfully touched. Are you having trouble reading?
This brings us to April 2024, and Rekieta's last case as a practicing attorney. Rekieta was the attorney for April Imholt for a traffic violation.
I don't know what name
her hearing was
said.
set for April 23rd, 2024. It was a virtual hearing. Rekieta did not appear at the virtual hearing. April, who was not required to appear as long as attorney appeared, was also not present. Because neither of them showed up, April was convicted. Rekieta later stated he was sick and unable to make.
Yeah, I asked my client what she wanted to do because I wasn't able to make the hearing. By the way, she was very aware of how sick I was. She saw it, so she wasn't surprised. And, I asked my client how she wanted to proceed, and she chose to just pay the ticket.
Make the hearing. Well, yeah. They talk about trying to obtain the body cam footage.
How'd that go?
Which is still ongoing.
How'd that go? Well, it's still ongoing. I mean, not really. Not really. They did not appeal. By the way, they did not appeal the body cam decision up to the Supreme Court of Minnesota. So the judgment has been entered and it is final in the body cam case. That just happened the other day. Kind of thought they might do that, but they didn't. So we'll see if they appeal. I think they might have missed their appeal window on the other decision. Well, I don't know if that would be an interlocutory appeal or not. I guess not.
Rekieta and alcohol. From the very beginning of Rekieta's online career, alcohol was featured.
My anatomy's made up of alcohol.
Prominently. Fair. To be clear, in early videos, he did not appear drunk or heavily inebriated. In those videos, whiskey was featured as a treat at the end of a hard workday. He would drink, unwind, talk to his audience about legal topics. Over time, alcohol began to be featured more and more. He started doing whiskey reviews in 2021. And if you go to his channel and search for the word whiskey, it appears in title of over 30 times and description of over 100 videos.
Yep.
During his rise to prominence in 2019 through 2022, he began receiving lots of super chats from people who would super chat him to toast. These toasts would be for past loved ones, getting new jobs, birthdays, anniversaries, and be followed by a sip of alcohol, usually whiskey. By 2023, his drinking increased. He regularly appeared on camera, slurring words, losing focus, and acting strangely. He often trailed off into meandering soliloquy that appeared to be alcohol-based ramble. These rambles...
How did he get through soliloquy? The guy can't pronounce lolcow. Oh, you guys are the best. Nigga's the best toaster. Still am. Still am. And an honest doubter says pretty much all great toasts.
Also alienated many of his audiences. For example, in one stream, he criticized his church, including their production value.
That's a joke! Good Christ. Sorry. Well, you're not allowed to criticize your church, though, guys. How dare you? How dare you?
The singing, the liturgy, and the basic tenets of the Christian faith. He admitted it was so boring they fell asleep and had to be woken up by his wife.
Not so boring. I have narcolepsy. I have to be woken up by my wife all the time. At everything. Anything. Movies, sporting events, any and everything. It's kind of like when you have a mental impairment that makes you fall asleep, you're going to fall asleep. It's going to happen. Holy shit. It says, imagine Kurt at a party. What a wet blanket. I don't have to imagine Kurt at a party. I have seen it. Ugh.
Many of his audience were Christian and were attracted to his image as a humble Christian family man who was active in the church.
I'm sorry, humble? I'm sorry, humble? Actually, I was humble. I still am.
Drunken rants about his topics also turned off his audience. Yep, that's definitely, yeah.
That's it. You're right.
Let's see what else they talk about. So then they talk about his battles with Imhotep. In the aftermath, taking the plea deal.
Wait, what are the battles? What battles?
Since returning to YouTube, Rekieta has remained mostly irrelevant in the LawTube space. He's tried to recapture his success with coverage of Karen Reed trial throughout 2025. However, these live streams only got 10 to 20,000 total views, as opposed to 250,000 to 1 million views he got during the Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happens when you go away for like a year. YouTube doesn't quite know what to do with your channel. It's tough on the old algorithm. Tex Murphy, nothing to apologize for. This guy wrote a book on Lolcows, and I'm chapter 8, I think, or 9. I don't remember. 8 or 9, something like that. And or was I chapter 10? God, I don't remember. I wasn't listening. But yeah, so Kurt is doing his review of it.
Commentators like popular web show Kino Casino has speculated that Rekieta was still using drugs after he appeared on stream in May of 2025 with Blue Fingers. Strange voice.
I don't know. I don't know what the blue thing. Like I've seen the picture. I normally I think I would be alarmed if my fingers looked like that, but I didn't ever see them look like that in person. So I don't know if that was like a weird thing with lighting. I legitimately don't. I have some ideas as to what it might have been. But I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I used to get like really upset about this. Be like, come on, like blah, blah, blah. But it's like, people are going to just say what they're going to say. They will always do that. Like, and there's nothing you can do to convince anybody. So you might as well just roll through. Was I fingering a Smurf? Not that day. But I went out and found one just to see if it would make my fingers blue like that.
Changes and sounds of heavy breathing or inhalation were caught up.
I love that the arbiters of my drug use and morality, though, are the Kino Casino. Like, two people with a documented history of significant drug use and immorality. Very, very, interesting decisions. Which, go for it. Like, I don't care.
A microphone. These could be considered indication of whippet use or inhaling nitrous oxide.
Ooh.
Creates a euphoric feeling and short high. It's also not detected by drug tests, which Rekieta is subject to as a condition of his parole.
Probation. I'm not on parole. I did not go to prison. Oh, he's got take 2. Yes. Okay, so he didn't like that first take. Apparently, he did a take 2. Okay, here we go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Uncivil Law. So, I was watching back one of my old streams, as I do from time to time.
Your old stream was
when
like
I
2
covered
days
this
ago.
book that was sent to me in the mail, Lolcows, the internet's never-ending tragedy. And I noticed that as I was reading with my head down, I was mumbling and not speaking very clearly.
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
this is entitled
Do it.
Lolcows, the internet's never-ending tragedy from Luther Morgan.
And we are going to immediately. He's better enunciation, but way better, or way worse. Sorry, way worse visual aids. I couldn't see the cover of that book at all.
Read parts of the chapter devoted to Nicholas Rekieta.
So what makes this so funny to me is that Kurt has said over and over when people ask him about stuff, he's like, I don't care what he's doing, you know, blah, blah, blah. He does his own thing. I don't even care. I don't listen. Okay. I believe you. I believe you, Daniel.
So let me skip to the right page. Upon graduating from law school, he started Rekieta Law in 2015.
No, not upon graduating from law school. I had to graduate from law school, and then I had to pass the bar, and then I had to wait after passing the bar for my results to come in, and then I had to wait for my admission ceremony where I took my oath of being a lawyer. Come on, keep up.
Rekieta was admitted to the bar, according to Minnesota records, on May 8th, 2015. Rekieta Law's first Facebook post announced the opening of his firm on July the 30th of 2015. So we can assume that is when Rekieta Law, the law firm, not YouTube channel, began. Later posts show a small physical office which opened.
Yes.
This small office was located in a strip mall in the neighboring town of Wilmar, Minnesota.
Wilmar. I liked my little office. It was cozy. My kids would come in. We'd watch TV and stuff for lunch. It was fun.
Off the main road. This office must have closed at some point. Google Street View still has the law firm occupying that building in August of 2018, but by 2022, it is no longer there. It is difficult to discern exactly how much law he actually practiced. According to Minnesota court records online.
Wait, is he just gonna read it slower? Is that what we're gonna get? He's just gonna read this slower than he read it earlier? Oh, God.
Website, a government website. He has represented 28 cases from 2015 to 2024. Most are family and criminal cases, but also a few civil cases. Why would you have that
book, Roslyn?
These are just cases in court, but he could have been hired on legal matters outside of court, which I also frequently have been.
Did you hear that? Oh, man. Okay. That was new. Somebody's listening. M. Spire says, don't want to hear it twice. He sent it to you? Was there a note attached for you to talk about Rekieta Law? Or was it because of some other person? Or like, what was the thing? When the copies he sent out had notes.
His first case, which went to court, was in July of 2015 and was a child support case. In December of 2015, he worked a criminal case of receiving stolen property. In 2016, it was more prolific here.
I don't even remember that receiving stolen property case. That's interesting. I wonder what that was. If you go back and look.
He handled 7 cases, including felony criminal cases, estate, and custody. This continued until 2019. Around this time, Rekieta's YouTube career was in full swing, and the number of cases his legal practice took up declined. Arguably, the largest case of Rekieta's law career was his criminal defense of Melanie Beth Daniel, which began in December of 2019. Daniel was accused of embezzling $500,000 from 2 local bookstores, eventually causing the business to go under. Daniel
technically it was 440 something thousand. They weren't bookstores. That's still not true. That's funny.
Daniel was facing 50 criminal charges, mainly felony theft.
Lots
Of
them.
those charges, 45 were dismissed and 5 were convictions. This case made a few local papers.
That's holy shit. I got 90% of that case dismissed. The balls on this lawyer. 90%. 90% of the time, get your case dismissed. Or part
It
of
was the only case Rekieta handled as an attorney I could find, which was covered by the press. I reached out to Daniel to request her opinion on her legal representation, but she did not respond. He handled one case in 2020, 2021, and 2024. His last case was a traffic charge against his mistress, April Imholte. He did not show up to court. She was subsequently convicted. The exact date is unknown, but due to his ongoing legal drama, people went to the Minnesota Law Directory.
I don't like the characterization mistress. That implies something that isn't quite true. It's not. Precision is important. That one's just not the right word. I'm not quite sure what it is, but that one's not correct.
And found his license to practice was suspended. This was reported in September of 2024. The last payment due for bar association fees was November 2024. As of this writing, Rekieta has not reinstated his law license, and I don't believe he has, even to date. I believe he's behind on his CLE, which isn't that difficult to catch up on. There's a lot.
When you're a single man who's depressed and stays in his house all the time, it's not that difficult to catch up on. When you're not single and are constantly busy, finding 45 hours of time isn't as easy. And it's also not the highest priority because I don't need it to do my job. My job is here. Happily so.
Lot of online sites that you can do CLE on. So he's just choosing not to do them for whatever reason that he's choosing.
It's called having a shitload of personal obligations to do while also being the sole breadwinner for a family of 7. It's not that simple to do this. It's not easy at all. It's amazing. Can't figure out why he doesn't do this. That's because you're alone. That's because no one depends on a single thing that you do.
There are 2 unique aspects to his legal career. The first being he's a creative writing major. The second being he started his own firm directly out of law school. Being an English or social science major before going to law school is not that uncommon. It's not, that's for sure. But what is unique is Rekieta's interest in creative writing and literature, which must have impacted his decision to start a YouTube channel. In my opinion, the technical aspects of the law are not really featured in his content. Yeah.
What? I'm sorry. What now? The technical aspects of the law aren't featured in my content? Okay. That's amazing. I incorporate other things into my content, like comedy, mirth, humanity, storytelling, things that you would recognize as other necessary elements of the practice of law if you take a minute and let yourself fade into a little abstraction. You got to relate to people to bring in business. You got to relate to people to negotiate. And you got to relate to people to talk before a judge and a jury. Not enough people talking about those elements. It's amazing watching some of these people say stuff like that and then talk about trials or watching trials. It's like once you're at trial, outside of, you know, motions in limine and stuff like that, you're really thin on technical aspects of the law. Except, of course, objections, which I scream about all the time.
Reviewing case law, going over statutes, and reading legal documents are not featured as much as is argumentation, creative legal theory, and rhetoric. And for the purposes of YouTube, those things are more interesting to an audience. Fair enough. My more doctrinal approach has not been as popular at times. That is fair. Doctrinal approach, interesting to an audience. Fair enough. My more doctrinal approach has not been as popular at times.
I need to clip that out, upload it in Suno, and be like, make a techno song out of this. Oh my god. Wonder, how do I do that? I need to figure that out. We'll do that in a minute.
That is fair. As we will see later in this chapter, his lack of experience and technical knowledge of the law are his limitations. It's very rare.
You know, it's amazing. I love stuff like this because this is, again, where you can pick out people with a different social expression than I have. All right, like you can pick it out very specifically. Some of my friends and colleagues who I bring on the show and go on their shows, some of them, not Kurt, some of them are recognized as some of the best and most prominent lawyers in the country, at least in their fields of practice. I haven't heard them complaining about my technical expressions of the law. I haven't heard them complain about my interpretations of the law or my recitation of, citations or whatever. I don't seem to have that trouble. But I get this criticism all the time, like that I don't know this stuff. And it's like, well, I do. And also, again, some of the people I bring on are the literal best lawyers in the country. They're recognized experts. And we have, I'm honored and blown away most of the time to have conversations with them as peers and not conversations as pupil.
That someone who just graduated from law school would start their very own firm. I reached out to a number of law tubers and asked, is it common to start your own practice directly out of law school? One replied, almost unheard of, and that you would need daddy's money to be able to do something like that. Well, I don't know about.
Yeah, I needed daddy's money to rent. It was like $1,000 or $1,100 a month office in a strip mall, and start networking and soliciting for cases like that. That's what I needed right there, was daddy's money to do that. Okay. How poor are these people?
That necessarily. It is certainly uncommon. I can't really think of anyone who did it off the top of my head, but it's.
So this is one of those weird criticisms. It's like, it's uncommon. I can't think of anybody who did it. All right, like, good. And small town lawyer, man. Start up with, traffic and family cases and shit like that. Just hope you get people walking through the door, start getting your name out there, go out and, again, go to business networking shit and get people familiar with who you are and what you do. Oh, and also, start writing up transactional stuff, trusts, leases, all that shit.
Certainly isn't unheard of, depending on what community you're involved in and what you're trying to get started. But It's definitely on the
I started my own big law firm, and we immediately sued the United States government with 37 paralegals. Like, it was just me in a room. Like, it wasn't that complicated.
rare side, I suppose. It's more typical to start working as an associate attorney in private practice in the public sector or as in-house counsel at a large corporation. More the first two. You learn and gain experience under supervision of more experienced attorneys. There are many roadblocks.
You know, the thing is about living in a tiny county, there aren't many associate attorney positions available. There just aren't any. And sometimes you just have to go work on your own because you got to be a fucking man and do the work. Like, it's just what these people baffle me. They baffle me. It's like, do you have any responsibilities or obligations? Because I did. I mean, I know I had all this trust fund money or whatever, and started it. You have to just work. You just have to go to work. And it's like, well, it's hard to find employment. So I guess you just open your own place. Like, I'll go find a place and I'll open it up and I'll go. By the way, tons of attorneys that I talked to started off, they just went out after law school, they hung their own shingle and started up. They might have grabbed they might have met someone in law school and started a partnership, but they just started up. Because there are people who are directable and there are people who direct themselves. I think I've shown over the years that don't really like other people telling me what to do. Not the biggest fan of it. I have disagreements with them. And rather than getting mad and yelling at people, just do my own thing.
You face to starting a law firm right out of law school. You have a massive disadvantage to prospective clients because you don't have any experience. If there are high stakes, like money or jail time, most people, and myself, would want someone who isn't going to be learning on the job. You can start out with relatively smaller stuff.
I wasn't taking murder cases. These people are nuts. These people are nuts. Family law, minor possession cases, receipt of stolen property. There was some harassment cases, stuff like that. Drug cases. You start off there. If someone came up to me with like a really complex criminal defense case that was going to go to trial, I wasn't going to take the case. I referred it out. I'm not fucking stupid.
As a new attorney, you don't have any real work experience. There are varying opinions about how much law school actually prepares you to work in the real legal field, especially a law field which requires going to court. It's possible to start your own firm right out of law school, but it takes a lot of work. You have to run a business and operate as a lawyer at the same time. Rekieta never had a paralegal to help him with his law practice during his time.
Nope.
Yeah, he was a solo practice.
Yep. It happens.
This chapter began with an overview of...
Because with all of quote unquote daddy's money in my massive trust fund, like I couldn't afford a paralegal. I had to just work. Had to work. Had a mortgage. Wife and kids.
Rekieta's actual law practice, because it doesn't get enough attention online. Rekieta draws upon his credibility as a lawyer to give legal commentary on his YouTube channel. His time as a lawyer is fairly low-key.
I don't really do that. This book is very inaccurate. It's a shame. It's a shame. No, I say I really didn't have a lot of experience as an attorney, but I'm really good at translating what is meant and talking about what is happening in a case. That's what I'm really good at that. So I do that. Trial commentary is about people.
If being generous. Many would consider his law career to be mediocre or unimpressive. The most cases he ever handled in a year were 7. While he was able to secure several dismissals, I wasn't able to find a case where one of his clients was acquitted or went to jury verdict. Well, to be quite fair, Most cases don't go all the way to verdict.
Though he had several dismissals, I wasn't able to find a case where his client was acquitted. Oh, okay. I guess. Shucks. God, I'll have to tell my clients who got the dismissals, it's really too bad we didn't go through trial and get an acquittal, because that would have been better for them. What a fucking tard.
Most cases settle. The cases that go all the way to verdict are unusual in both the criminal and civil context because there's risk. And most people want to ameliorate that risk. And there are a lot of on the courthouse step settlements as well. So just because you never went to verdict doesn't mean that you're not successful. Perhaps you're extremely successful, depending on what you're trying to do.
Getting a dismissal for your client is the definition of success in criminal, in either civil or criminal. That's the definition of winning. That is how you win without going through a trial. You win that way first, which is amazing because that's based on your technical skill as a lawyer more than going to trial is. Going to trial is less about a technical skill.
Rekieta began making YouTube videos in 2017. His first videos focused on internet-related lawsuits like Maddox and Dick Masterson and other online creators' legal issues. He combined legal analysis with humor. His small-town lawyer persona also made him endearing and approachable. He continued to make...
I'm no big, satty lawyer. But what I think about this Maddox fella is that he seems like an Armenian who needs to be taught something about defamation.
Beard's representation of Mignota was widely criticized for numerous procedural failures, like submitting paperwork late and lack of professionalism. I criticized it for the same reasons.
So did I. I was very hopeful. The judge could have accepted the late submissions. He could have done that, but he decided not to. That really crushed the case because without accepting that third amended complaint, went back to the second amended complaint, which was deficient, which is why there was a third amended complaint in the first place. That was devastating. It sucked.
Their first and it's been a while, but the first and second motion to dismiss, or the first and second answer, no, it was the complaint because they were the complainant. Yeah, the first and second complaint didn't really set up enough stuff to make the causes of action work. And the third amended complaint, which did set it up, was not filed in a timely fashion. So there were...
Whoa, that was a cool admission, though. Did you hear that? He said it did set it up. Third amended complaint was good. The third amended complaint was good, at least relative to the first and second amended complaints. And it should have been sufficient to get past the TCPA. Which is why Judge Chupp didn't accept it. It was a mess for him if he did accept it. Would have been a big problem. So he didn't. Because it was late. It was late. Can't file late.
Problems. For example, the court had to reject affidavits because they were improperly notarized. That too.
This is crazy because the improper notarization wasn't required for those affidavits. Like that was one of an unsworn declaration would have been sufficient rather than the notarized affidavits. It didn't need an affidavit. And so the question, one of the questions was, why aren't you accepting these as just unsworn declarations? But hey.
It's possible that Beard is a competent attorney who is just totally out of his depth as he's not experienced with defamation cases. Mignota lost the lawsuit and it cost him a great deal of money. After losing appeals, Mignota was personally responsible.
That's a good line. It's possible Beard's a competent attorney. I mean, he's been an attorney for 30-something years. So it's possible, I guess.
And the other party's legal fees, which were $283,000. Yes, that's true.
It's not true, Kurt.
Rekieta wasn't licensed to practice law in Texas. That too.
Not his lawyer.
He was a strip mall lawyer in rural Minnesota.
Not his lawyer.
In my research of Rekieta's actual representation, I wasn't able to find a case where he represented anybody as a plaintiff.
wasn't his lawyer because I'm not a Texas defamation lawyer. I didn't. So insane.
Or defendant in defamation cases. Yet he was comfortable providing legal recommendations to someone on that subject. And why would Ty Beard take a case in a legal field he doesn't report to be prolific?
What legal recommendations did I provide? And to whom? It was unclear. Was it to Ty or was it to Vic? Both of them aren't true. I wasn't the lawyer. Thanks.
While the case was a massive failure for Mignona,
we were wondering
it
if
was a
you were gonna
massive
read
win
those.
for Rekieta. Rekieta was able to gain significant viewership and audience from his coverage on Mignona's case. Rekieta would go on to cover another large trial in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse in 2011.
Wait, in 2011?
Skipping a few more paragraphs.
I don't think I covered Kyle Rittenhouse in 2011. I'm just saying, I'm not sure. Was it his birth?
His decision to focus on YouTube turned out to be the right move for Rekieta, as his popularity exploded during the coverage of the Johnny Depp lawsuit.
Oh man, I made the right
Depp v.
decision.
Heard was another national headline
Did that
case.
hurt to say?
It was a defamation case. Depp alleged that Heard Me Too allegations were false and cost him lucrative acting career. He sued Heard for defamation, alleging $50 million in damages. Heard countersued, claiming Depp defamed her. She alleged $100 million in damages. The case and Rekieta's
That was
coverage of
such
the
a bitch
case
move.
became lightning in a bottle. The trial was something out of a movie, which various twists and turns, spellbinding testimony, including by celebrities, and other shocking revelations. People wanting to learn more about or follow the case did so through Rekieta's channel. That's true. He was pretty much on. No one was really challenging him for views at the time within the community, so that he pretty much had it to himself.
No one was ever challenging me for views within the community. This is a thing that is this is one of Kurt's problems, and it's a common problem that people have. There is no challenge for views. There's no like, God, I need to get their views. Like I got to outview that's not a thing. You just do your stream. You hope the distribution gods bring people over, or the word of mouth or whatever. Word of mouth, when you're talking about like word of mouth to tens of thousands of people, is like a weird concept. It doesn't work the way it does in other circumstances. There is a word of mouth that works on tens of thousands of people. Interestingly, we saw it during the Johnny Depp trial when Legal Bites stupidly tried to throw DUI guy out of LawTube, right? Once she did that, I think my viewership increased by like 30,000 live viewers the next day. But I wasn't pushing Johnny Depp. I was just doing it because people in my audience wanted me to do it. So I was just on my, like over on my side doing it. Legal Bites had asked me if she could like take point and run lead and that I not invite the panel onto my show. And I said, all right, like, I guess. Because I'm a nice motherfucker, and I always have been.
Rekieta went from being a strip mall attorney in rural Minnesota to one of the most well-known and respected lawyers on YouTube. He had a worldwide audience of
And I did that with my lack of knowledge of the law, obviously, and my inability to recite technical applications of it.
people and loyal fans who tuned in his streams to hear his legal opinions. Many of Rekieta's loyal fans followed him off YouTube and onto more monetizable platforms. In the summer of 2022, Rekieta started a Lolcows account. At an average, it was reported that Rekieta had over 5,000 monthly supporters. At an average rate of $5 per month, that would have netted Rekieta $25,000 per month. Well, I don't think that's quite right, because I assume that $5 is the total amount, and I believe that local.
So Kurt's partially right here, but you can also give more than $5 a month on Locals. And we actually had like a functional multi-tier system. I think $5, $10, and $20 as tiers that were tied into like Discord roles and stuff like that. It didn't work very well because Locals never released an API that integrated with Discord. It was just a mess. What Kurt doesn't know and can't know is that there were several people who gave significantly more than $5 a month. Some people as high as, $100 to $200 a month, or even a little more for temporary times in some cases. Some people really appreciated the show in that way at that time. That's what they did. But yeah, you got a lot of members, you make pretty good money.
Does take a cut. So I'm not sure that's quite right on the math, but okay.
I will not take any credit for Bronca's evolution into his new style. He recognized, he recognized his style and changed it while I was gone. He's been very successful. It's been awesome. It's funny and engaging. I think though, I did show Bronca that we could unbutton the top button a little bit. I think that's I'll take that credit. Maybe you could take the tie off and yell at women or whatever.
In 2022, at the height of his popularity, the controversies began to pile up. The controversies were not related to his legal commentary, but his personal life.
Here we go.
In October of 2022, his Locals chat became a forum for sharing nudes and other personal photos. Rekieta would
Nope. It was not a forum for sharing nudes. That's a lie.
not discourage the posting of private content, but rather branded his Locals chat as free speech and censorship free.
Which has been the brand of my channel from the beginning, from the very start. It was always whatever's within the terms of service.
Kayla posted in Locals defending her photos and saying there was nothing wrong with what she was doing and she was proud of her body.
And she's 100% right. There's nothing wrong with what she did. People treated her very poorly for no reason.
In August of 2022, Rekieta announced he was taking his wife to Jamaica. Later, nude photos they posted on Locals.
I don't think I announced that we were going to Jamaica. I think I announced we were going to the Caribbean.
And various details he let slip.
And we never posted nude photos. Well, except there was a photo where we were both nude, but it's our backs. You can see our backs.
On Hedonism's website, it describes itself as an all-inclusive, adults-only, clothing-optional resort where inhibitions can be left at the door and the thrill of discovery awaits around every corner. Immerse yourself in an exotic escape. You get the idea. It's a sex resort. There's wife swap.
It's a sex resort. I don't know if that's actually true. There's a lot of sex at that resort. But again, you don't have to do any of it. It's amazing. You can just not have sex. You can try that.
Hooking up, sex-themed and risque parties he would later admit to being at the resort.
I watched a bunch of that stuff, not watched. Oh, shit, that sounds creepy. I saw a bunch of that stuff happen. It was, funny. And because it'd be 1 minute you're talking to someone, you're just having a conversation, you're each having a drink or whatever, and you're like, all right, see you later. And then you actually do see them later getting just plowed out in the pool. And you're like, God, calm down, girl. That was weird, but I found it charming. But I'm broken. I think things are funny that other people don't think are funny. But I also wasn't doing that. I didn't have sex with other people. Neither did Lady Rackets. We went there together for us. It was fun.
In December of 2022, Rekieta also discussed in his dreams about going to an underwear bar for his birthday with his wife. This bar, Gay 90s, is a known LGBTQ bar.
What was your first clue? This bar called the Gay 90s. That's a known LGBTQ bar. Holy shit. Someone catch Sherlock. He's running too fast. Also, the Gay 90s originally opened as an exclusively gay club. It was for all the homos to go and not get, discriminated against or whatever. But you go there now and there's more straight people than there are gay people, which, I guess I prefer that personally, not because like I don't like gay people, but you know, like, I don't know. Doesn't really matter unless you're taking someone home though, right? Lonely God, he's reading a book by a guy named Luther Morgan called, on Lolcows. So to answer your question, yes, he's just basically read Kiwi Farms. And then he called a bunch of people who don't like me and asked about stuff.
While Rekieta had been faltering and fading, these other LawTubers were gaining market share. They had their own audience and been studiously developing their channels. People thought it was funny. Yeah. It's something. As legal commentators,
I love it. People thought it was funny. Okay. The piety rings a little hollow when people are like, watching someone who's going through self-destruction, that's hilarious. That's great. I don't care, by the way. Like I'm long over it. It's just funny when I get moralized by these people who are like, yeah, your misery was really great to watch and gossip about.
Began to review the legal documents about Rekieta's case. Many were also friends or acquaintances of Rekieta and were predisposed to being sympathetic to him. But as the details of the child neglect and substance abuse came to light, many broke contact with him. Yeah, that wasn't when I broke contact with him. I broke contact with him when he said, "Stop being my friend."
I would love to see that. I should check my text with Kurt and see if I actually said that. You know what? I might have. Not true at all. See, here's the thing. Wednesday, October 30th of 2024 was when I said, we're done. Never, ever reach out to me again. But Kurt and I had a discussion in July. Which is where things started to go very south. I was at a tattoo convention. I talked to him for a very long time after hours. But he is right. I said, we're done. Never, ever reach out to me again. That wasn't when we... that was pretty one-sided contact leading up to that. On October 27th, I said, I didn't blame any of you assholes for anything. I said, stop pretending you're giving me good legal advice with try to get a good plea deal. Holy fuck. Thanks, Matlock. I was angry at the time. I was angry.
The main consensus, with few exceptions, across all LawTube was that Rekieta should shut up. Yeah. Seek rehabilitation. Strike a plea deal because he's a first-time offender and move on.
I love how a bunch of people told me to seek rehabilitation. One, they wanted me to do that right away on my own, which would involve making some sort of admissions that I wasn't prepared to make at the time for various reasons. Two, they wanted me to do that with no deal on the table. Three, I had a licensed chemical use assessor do a full chemical use assessment that was ordered by the court. And they determined that I was not a good candidate for rehab. That I was not in that level of addiction and abuse that rehab would be beneficial. Instead, they prescribed me outpatient relapse prevention therapy, which is pretty different than rehab. But again, the only thing worse than lawyers giving legal advice without having all the facts, without thinking through the issues, is lawyers giving medical advice ever.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That's what I and pretty much everyone else was saying. That's true.
Me going to rehab would have been a terrible plan. A terrible fucking plan. It would have pushed back the work I needed to do to get my children back by months of time. Maybe pushing that window into the permanency area where they would have had to, by law, decide to either return my kids or go for permanency, which changes the entire nature of the fight and also keeps my kids away for much, much longer. Thanks for the advice, you dumb motherfuckers.
Move on was defined as repairing his relationship with his family and or returning to his core business to support his family, making content again. Rekieta's
Yeah, I did like 3 videos between getting arrested and like February of 2025 or something like that. It was a significant amount of time off.
reaction to being raided by the police was described by commentators as a crash out. He became immediately hyper defensive about the situation. Yes.
He became very defensive about people lying about him, giving him bad advice, not listening to. I was trying to tell them what was going on, and they wouldn't listen to me at all. Yeah, I was frustrated about that. Of course I was. Especially because some of them were aware that I was using substances.
2 future
They acted surprised in
revelations
public.
further isolated Rekieta. The notes describing body cam footage on the raid on his house and drug tests indicating Rekieta's 9-year-old daughter tested positive for cocaine with a hair follicle test. Rekieta disputes the description of the body cam footage and the accuracy of the hair follicle test. As to the later part, it was never clear what exactly the hair follicle test was. Was it a primary test? Was it a secondary test? It was not clear from the information that was available exactly what that test was. So
Sure wasn't,
there might be
was it?
reason to doubt it. If for no other reason than the government ultimately did not seem to take action based on it, which suggests that their confirmation tests didn't come through.
Which suggests that there might have been a problem. Maybe. I'll give Kurt credit. That had to maybe sting to say. And I really do appreciate that he had integrity when he said that just now. That was an unironic. I appreciate that.
So it might very well be true that the test was inaccurate or something. So it was a little unclear on that point. A transcript of the body cam footage of the police raid was put online. A local woman who goes by the moniker Mama K went to the Candy High County Courthouse.
That's not a transcript. She couldn't get a transcript of the body cam footage. That also wouldn't make that much sense. A transcript of the body cam footage would just be what the cops said on the body cam footage. Not super useful. But it also implies a level of credibility that isn't present.
And wrote detailed notes while watching the video. Rekieta responded.
How does he know that the notes are detailed? This is one of those things where Kurt, as a lawyer, could take a moment and go, wait a minute, we can't verify those are detailed notes. He has no idea. You would have to have seen it to reference the notes to see if they were detailed at all or if they were accurate.
To this on Twitter by claiming Mama K was an obsessive weirdo and she should be put.
Mama K is an obsessive weirdo. I was rude to that woman the first time she came to Lady Rackets' hearing because weirdos were coming to the hearing. And so I went outside before all of them. I had Lady Rackets stay with her lawyer. I said, I'm going to go get some little bit of revenge. And I videoed everybody coming out of the courthouse. And some of them, including that lady, got really fucking mad about it. No fair turnabout, I guess. It was okay to film other people in public, but her being filmed was completely out of line, according to her. Then I called her like a fat goblin and stuff. I stand by that statement, but I did go the next hearing because she, for a while, was coming to all of them. And I said, you know what? Like, I'm sorry. We got off on the wrong foot. I've talked to some people who have talked to you. They told me a little bit about your past. I understand now why you might have some sensitivity in this case relative to yours. Not hers, but relative to what she went through as a child. Like, I get it. Okay? And I said, I want to kind of I want to apologize and clear the air. I want to answer any of your questions. She described that request in which, by the way, I walked up and I said, may I sit down next to you? And I sat down next to her. She described that request as me towering over her with a demonic energy. Fuck that crazy bitch. Oh my goodness.
Down. Very balanced. Rekieta's very reaction to criticism.
Nick, no shade, just genuine curiosity. Did you pick up booger sugar because it helped with your narcolepsy? No. It's complicated and personal. Just know that I was like, well, I'll try this out. And that's enough for people to know. But I decided to try it out because I wanted to try Molly out. And so I tried Molly out. I wasn't really into cocaine at all. And then I tried cocaine a couple times and I really didn't like it because I had shitty cocaine from a stripper. It wasn't that good. So I wasn't a big fan. But then I tried good stuff. Changed my mind on it really quickly.
Was standing operating procedure. True. You think it was Kayla's hair and not the kids? Maybe. Maybe they got crossed in some way. Could be. There could be a lot of things.
Could be someone else's hair. Could be contaminated. Could just be a bad test. Could be a whole bunch of stuff. Right, he was reading
then
the
they
chat.
talk about the Toes legal battles, which we can kind of skip that. April of 2025, Rekieta took a plea deal related to his drug possession charges. He was sentenced to 5 years of probation and other community service. The charges against April and Kayla were dropped. Many were hopeful with this legal dark cloud behind him, Rekieta would be able to finally tell us how he really felt about the case.
That's not true at all.
Yeah. He might even apologize. And he was not able to prior because he feared to be seen legally as admission of guilt. Since returning to YouTube, Rekieta has remained mostly irrelevant in the LawTube space. He tried to recapture his...
Thank Christ. I don't want to be in the LawTube space. Like I never have, still don't. Ew. I also did apologize. Not only in court, but on my show. But most importantly, in court. To the court, to the people that I had the most impact on. I did apologize to them. And I also apologized on my show a couple different times as I realized that different apologies needed to be made. You know.
Rekieta continues to lash out as detractors and trolls. Anything which could be considered criticism doesn't escape his wrath. For example...
You're right. Like, that's actually true. Anything that could be considered criticism doesn't escape my wrath. Holy shit. What a fucking baby. In fact, every piece of criticism, all of it, I have to respond with wrath. I'm running out of wrath. If anybody has teaspoons of wrath, I could use some. Absolutely amazing. The amount of daily criticism and outright hatred that I have received over the past 2 years, I've responded to a minuscule fraction of it. It's wild to see stuff like this. I love it.
Alyssa Clips. A clipping channel featured Rekieta and many of the lowlights was attacked by Rekieta. Alyssa Clips does not...
How did she get attacked by me? She got attacked by cancer. That's what she got attacked by. Allegedly. Totally real, right? Like, send me more money.
Engage in commentary. They are only snippets of Rekieta's stream. She announced she was diagnosed with cancer. Rekieta's response was, I don't know how to laugh harder than this, and sarcastically remarked he was very sorry to hear that. He continued by saying, I don't give a fuck about these people, and she's an evil bitch. Rekieta then walked those comments back and apologized. Did he, though? Did he? I thought he doubled.
I mean, a little bit. A little bit, but, you know. Who fucking cares? Why do we have to pretend to like people? Why is that a thing? It's like, I can't believe he would say something negative about someone who is just is just an innocent YouTuber or whatever. Why? Why am I required to like someone? Fuck that. Rudy Toot says, so this is a morality test? Everything has been a morality test from amoral people. You didn't abuse anybody, so what the F is the point? Why do these people care so much? I don't know. Like I said on my Instagram post today, causing trouble just by existing. Here's the thing that happened with me during all this. I realized that I don't give a shit about other people's like opinions or whatever, because I realize how unimportant that stuff is ultimately. I don't give a fuck about that. If I don't like something, I'm just going to say it. If I don't like someone, I'm just going to say it. I didn't go after her channel. I didn't go after anything. I didn't tell people to stop watching her. I didn't do anything other than laugh. I don't know. I don't know why I'm required to like someone who overtly does not like me. Wants specifically negative things to happen to me, which she tells people in private plenty of times. Why do I have to enjoy that person? I don't. I don't find her appealing or tasteful.
Down. When he was confronted, did he eventually apologize? I'll take your word for it. Rekieta's dramatic rise and fall from grace were meteoric and catastrophic. Legal Mindset, in discussion with me, stated Nick is one of the most unfortunate cases on YouTube. He could have been on TV. He could have had Netflix specials, and it's sad. Nick Rekieta did not respond to.
I was never going to have Netflix specials. That wasn't going to happen. There was a Lolcows member for a long time, and she and I have patched things up. Her name was Cynthia. One of the things she would always say to me was, you can be the next Joe Rogan. And I told her over and over, I don't want to be Joe Rogan. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be something I'm not. That was long before any of the quote unquote trouble. I'm just me. And I was never going to have Netflix specials or whatever. Like I showed up in the Johnny Depp one for a minute. Like they weren't going to, I'm not going to get hired by Law and Crime. I called them. They're not going to hire me. And I'm pretty sure Court TV wasn't either, especially now that they've been bought by Law and Crime. I called them too. What world are we living in? Mindset and I are good now. We're good, but this is a funny take. Like Nick could have done all this stuff. I wasn't going to. Doing all that stuff would have restricted and bound who I am and what I say. And I don't deal with that. I never have. Why would I start compromising? People will either support me on these platforms through super chats, super tips, memberships, all of those things, or they won't. And that's the way entertainment goes when you do it on your own. This is amazing. I like this one already. Interesting show. Started watching him during the Rittenhouse trial, but got burnt out by his constant drinking. Understandable. So did I, technically. Edit to add that I find you to be a kind person, and there were times when I really didn't like the way some of the stuff went down in regards to the way he talked down to you and other people. I'm glad you're still building your channel And I hope to see many more good content. Much better than the first take. It may not be more popular at times, but it is highly appreciated. Oh yeah, that's when, gosh, I need to clip that out. That's a good drop. That's a good drop. You got to get up and go to church. Well, I made people mad by by posting a little bit of a Bible verse. That was fun. Again, like there is nothing I can do that doesn't just absolutely infuriate some people. And I'm like, calm down. I'm not doing anything to any of these people at all. How are you going to church, Blizzard? Well, a lot of times we do church with the kids at one of the TVs in our house. We gather up on a couch, hang out, and watch the broadcast of church. A couple of people have my theories on like what the Bible verse is about. They're wrong. It's Matthew 25:35 to 40. Just says, for I was hungry and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you invited me in. I needed clothes and you clothed me. I was sick and you looked after me. I was in prison and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you? Or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in? Or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go visit you? And the king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. In that made people mad. Like, how dare you? How dare you quote the Bible, you monster? Oh, sorry. I didn't know if it was off limits, that was a thing. But apparently it is. That one, I'm not allowed to do that. I can't quote that passage. But it's not like super special or whatever. People are looking for some greater meaning in me posting it, some reference to something or someone. It's not that. First of all, I don't know if people notice, but I don't use the Bible that way. Like I don't use religion to condemn people. I don't use my theology to like judge and profess other people's wrongness, which is kind of the point of it. There's a difference out there that I've been seeing, and it's been frustrating me for the past several years, but it really has escalated in the past 2 years or 3, maybe it was 3. Sorry, those timelines are a little messy around that area, but there's a lot of people talking about religion. I don't even know if I want to call it their faith, but they're talking about religion a lot. And there are a bunch of people out there who just live it out. They live their faith and their religion. They don't have a burning need to like let people know about it. And here's the thing. I used to kind of think about this a little bit differently, but some people believe that it's important for other people to know that they're a Christian. And I don't mean in like a self-serving way. They believe that the knowledge of their Christianity or whatever religion will lead others. You know, it's like a subtle proselytization. And I kind of thought that too. But I've been thinking a lot about reputation lately, and like, no reason, don't worry. There's no connection to thinking about reputation, stuff like that. And I realized something that I'd been overlooking for a long time. And that's that I always knew and said, I always said like success and wealth and income and all those things, those are never yours. Like they're temporary. I see them as blessings, and sometimes they're excessive and sometimes they aren't. or whatever, but that's just that. And it was never really yours. Like you get to borrow some of it for whatever reason for a time. That was kind of always my perspective on those things. But I'd never really thought about that our reputations aren't ours either. That's our concern. Our concern is our reputation. Our concern is how people see you and judge you, and their moral condemnation or their moral praise, either way. But your reputation was never yours to begin with. And just like anything else, it's a tool, it's a gift. It's not necessarily in your control. And I'm not saying that your reputation is independent of your actions or anything stupid. I know someone's going to immediately like jump on that. Be like, no, you can't like blame God. It's like, you're not doing that. But caring a lot about your reputation is in the same way, to care about money and success and achievement and ability. Those aren't yours. Those were borrowed or given to you, and they might go away for a while. And that, you know what? Like, you can't sit and worry about it. I couldn't think of the verse. One of you guys will know it, but it basically says, like, for you'll face persecution in my name. And I think people think of that directly. People think about that as like, oh, I'll profess my following of Jesus and then people will persecute me as a Christian. We don't really see that in the same way. Like evangelical Christians in the US, particularly, Catholics too, but evangelicals, I feel like more, I could be wrong. They want to profess the hardship of the American Christian, the persecution of it, and, you know, fighting against the liberalism and humanism and all of these things. They're very keen to do that, and that is the persecution. That's what they face. But like, no, it's very simple, or it can be also very simple. You live out your life doing what you do, and you will be misrepresented or even properly represented, but maybe unjustly so, or maybe justly so. It doesn't really matter what you do. If you are living out your faith, even quietly, your reputation, your income, your everything is subject at all times to persecution because of Christ, I guess. And it's something you have to surrender, I think. This is my own personal reflection. Obviously, like, there's personal reasons I'm thinking about it. But, you know, like, the more people who know who you are, like, the more outright false stuff people will say. And some of it's because you are doing the things you're supposed to do. You are helping people. You are doing whatever. And believe me, that can be very, very frustrating. It can be very, very frustrating when, you know, you in some way help people or connect with them. And that is your crime and your sin, and people will determine what that means on their own and apply it to you. And you can sit and fight and rail against it and scream about how unfair it is, or you can realize that it wasn't yours in the first place. And so that's been my rumination on that recently, just thinking through, because it gets a little tough out in the streets sometimes. But there's no way around it. There's nothing you can do. You do have to prepare the people around you, though, because they have to be aware that what is going to come out from other people at you isn't always accurate. And the world of social media is different than how even people my age grew up. We didn't grow up with this ability to just paint people in a certain way, to take a partial fact and to apply it to them. And look, I have earned plenty of strikes on my own reputation. Like I am not absolving myself in any way, but it's about this idea of like trying to rehabilitate it and focusing on like, you have to do this for X, Y, Z. You don't. It's not yours. It's not yours. What matters is how you live for the people around you, because that's what always has mattered. That's not changing just because you don't like the way that your reputation sounds. And so that's been some of my personal reflection. That's all that was about. I just wanted to share that with you guys because it was kind of, I never really hear about that being something that we're supposed to surrender. I think pastors are really, really scared of saying we're supposed to surrender that part of us too. It's really easy to say, oh, you got to surrender, your income because, you could lose a job, or you got to surrender your, anything, your relationship, or you got to surrender a loved one because they die or something, right? But they don't talk so much about reputation because it goes to, well, you did something and that impacted your reputation. A lot of times it's justified. Sometimes it isn't. Doesn't really matter, though. That's the thing. It doesn't matter if it's justified or not. You can't sit and covet your reputation. But pastors and their churches are successful in part based on their reputations too. I think they're a little scared to talk about that. I've never heard it. I'm not saying it's not said. I've been going to church a long time and I haven't ever heard a message on surrendering your reputation. It's always don't be prideful, right? Like, oh, you didn't earn everything. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, I get it. I guess a lot of it's fortune and, blessing or whatever. I get that. But where is that message on you don't get to rehabilitate your reputation, or not on your timeline, or not in the way that you think? That's hard to do. That's hard to accept. Kurt is just asking to be judged. Again, I find Kurt funny these days. Like, obviously I take umbrage with some of his characterizations of how things happened. Only because they weren't complete or they weren't true. But that's fine. Trials are something. A lot of times I'd almost rather stream 4 to 6 hours during the day than doing an 8-hour trial stream a lot of times. But, hopefully you always hope that it helps catch the algorithm and that YouTube goes, oh, hey, this guy's doing trial streams. We want to do that. Oh, here we go. There's another Locals tip. Iceman says, hey, Nick, question for you. Feel free to not answer. Around 2023, I think the summer of that year, you're doing some Locals call-in shows. Jumped in a couple of times. You gave me a nice compliments and a few as well. I was wondering if during that time you were going through your addiction. Doesn't matter. I'm just curious because you said some really genuine stuff to me. Going through my addiction is that's a question that implies like a certain thing, and I don't quite know where that line is. Was I using in 2023? Yeah. Trying to think when I think I had started in 2022 after Johnny Depp. Is when I started. And so then, by 2023, I would have been using fairly regularly. I couldn't tell you like which shows. I think in 2023, I wasn't on it on shows as much, or I might have done like a bump during the bathroom break or something like that. But I wasn't like, it was sensible, we'll say. in 2024, like by the end, I was on Molly like pretty much every show, plus adding in cocaine. Like that was fairly frequent.